This video is all about debt weapons. You don't want to miss it. Stick around. Hey everybody, Matthew Pillmore here, and today is a very special training. We're going to talk about debt weapons, get a little bit more specific. There are three very important things that you have to know regarding debt weapons. Number one, we're never ever done adding more. So the goal is to perpetually increase your availability of capital by having access to more money. Entrepreneurs like Ryan, real estate investors, and entrepreneurs like myself, people like you, can advance themselves financially by leaps and bounds. And therefore, there is no such thing as having access to too much money. The second point that you have to know is we need to be targeting in excess of $25,000 each year per household of availability. So that number is again $25,000. The number can be as high as $250,000 every year, and in some rare cases we do see that number of $250,000 exceeded as well. So make sure that you understand, most importantly, the boundaries with which to identify and then acquire the debt weapons so that we're getting access to the right ones and we're doing so safely. And again, we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. The third important thing to know about debt weapons is that there are thousands of different types. So when individuals or audience members of our trainings come to us and ask, well, what is the best debt weapon for me? The answer really is, it depends. There are four main questions that need to be answered in order to make sure that you're properly identifying the right debt weapon. So let's go through those four questions. In order to identify the right debt weapons, which we empower people like Ryan to do, all of our coaching members and students are taught through the relationship how to access the right debt weapon at the right time. In order to do that, we start with these four questions. The first is, what will it be used for? We're going to be seeking a different debt weapon if we're investing in real estate, for example, than if we want to eliminate our debts very quickly. And it would be an entirely different debt weapon if we're looking at having access to emergency reserves. So it's very important to first start with the purpose. The second thing that we are able to do with that information is identify, okay, which vehicle then is best? Which debt weapon is best for that purpose? And where do we get access to that next debt weapon is the third question that needs answering. Fourth and final, when do we apply? And the reason that we're so careful about the timing with which we apply for debt weapons is our credit is always impacted when we submit an application. So we have to be careful about incurring hard inquiries, which can have a negative impact not just on our scores, but also in our general underwriting credit profile. So we want to make sure that we're always very sensitive to the frequency with which we're moving. It's a careful balance between aggression and safety, and this is why we're so strong in our recommendation of getting access to your one free coaching session if you have not done that so far, so that we can continue to make sure that you have the proper guidance that you need. So with that in mind, tell me a little bit about what you feel debt weapons have been able to do for you so far on your path to debt freedom, as well as expanding your business, and what you're hoping they can do for you moving forward.
Basically, they've just allowed me to, well, mostly leverage my finances when I need it. We have a couple periods during the year where we do heavy hiring, where some of our clients, specifically with the business side, they might have a net 45, net 60, which means how long after we do the job do we get paid. And 2 months later, that's a lot to float on the labor side of things. But to be professional and to get those kind of larger commercial accounts, we have to do that. That's just how the game is played with some of these big, especially city contracts. So what we've used is these debt weapons where we take the money and I can continue to pay my staff's labor, materials that we might need, and then leverage for a big payday at the end when we do land these contracts and know that the cities will, or the commercial side will be paying for it. So that's been very successful. And then just on the personal side of things, just really taking a hard look at my accounts and realizing even the low APR that I was paying on some of my student loans, I hadn't realized that after 12 years, I really had been paying quite a bit of interest. And the importance of kind of getting those paid off, and then being able to have, now that I had all those bills that I was used to every month that I was having to pay, I'm able to take that extra money and leverage it into other things. So it's been very good so far, and excited to learn more and jump in. And there's obviously quite a bit more I could talk about on this subject, but I'll let Matt do his thing. So
great. So let's go ahead and place a quick phone call.